So the first house I went to look at was actually an REO bank-owned property in Belleville, New Jersey. It needed some cosmetic work. My attentions weren't in flipping or wholesaling the property. It was more so in a little work and then becoming a landlord. But I quickly discovered that being a landlord wasn't as simple as the seminar made it seem, and then I mastered wholesaling first. So allow me to share these 5 tips with you. On my next video, I share with you how I went on to create $3,058,000 in transactions by the 24th month and the mistakes I made. So make sure that all the buttons around this video that will ensure that you're notified are punched in the face. My name is Ola and I'm the author of 2 books, Real Estate Money Secrets and Smart Real Estate Wholesaling, which you can download for free at www.smartrealestatewholesaling.com. I am also the creator of myEmpirePRO, an 11 days challenge quick start guide, which you can find at www.11dayschallenge.com. Tip number 5. Let's first define REO or bank-owned properties. As the name says, these are real estate properties owned by a bank. They are assets on their books. I know what you're thinking. So banks own real estate? Not necessarily, but owning a property does become a necessity for banks that lend money towards purchasing properties or use real estate as collateral for a mortgage loan. When such borrowers default on the loans, the bank is forced to exercise their right to foreclose on such property. The process of foreclosure starts with the lease pendis, a pending legal action with the courts. This stage is called pre-foreclosure. After that, they attempt to auction the property, and that often leads nowhere except buying the property back onto their books from the auction sheriff. That's foreclosure. Tip number 4. Exit strategy for wholesaling REO properties. If all you are doing is buying an REO property outright to fix and flip or to rent out as a landlord, you don't have to worry about this tip. But if your exit strategy is wholesaling, there are a few things you should know and prepare for. If you have an ongoing relationship with an end buyer that counts on you to continue to find deals for them, it's better for you to have them buy it straight from the bank on their name and get your finder's fees on the side. Your typical wholesale assignment contracts and fees may not be tolerated by the bank, as they have lost so much money in the foreclosure process and don't want to see any non-conventional fees being paid out on the closing statements. If you'd rather protect yourself and get paid from the closing table in black and white, you will need investor-friendly title companies such as Chicago Title or Stewart Title. Google them. I think they are national. You can also ask at your local REA for recommendations. These title companies will recognize one of 2 different deal structure that you will need, which are 1. LLC Transfer, which involves forming an LLC entity for the sole purpose of locking the property under purchase contract and transferring 100% of shares in the LLC to the end buyer after closing. That makes them the owner of the property, which is owned by the LLC. 2. Double closing, which involves buying the property first and funding it using transactional funding at the cost of 1 to 2 points and selling it right away on the same closing table to the end buyer. On the next video, I will talk more about transactional funding. With LLC Transfer, you will need to find an end cash buyer investor who is comfortable already with this strategy. That reduces the options in your pool. Ultimately, if you're locking a really great deal, the investors will do anything to get the deal because great deals are obviously not easy to come by. And with double closing, you can't use it if there are clauses in the offer acceptance that restricts title change. Sometimes they will add restrictions that prevent transfer of title for 90 days or so. You will be left with wholesale, that's wholesale plus retail, which means you need to buy and hold it for a while with that option. That would need your personal funding resources. Contrary to popular beliefs, you can still get away legally with these strategies in many states, but I also recommend using an attorney for these processes to protect yourself.